Hello. Welcome to your first lesson of how to have a happy 2024. So today we are going to talk about really just how to figure out what makes you happy. And there is a difference between self-care and happiness. That's the first thing I want to tell you. We go into self-care for a place of comfort, and then happiness is more of when we are taking action, okay? And when it comes to creating goals for happiness, I want to let you know that we are saying fuck realistic goals, fuck conforming goals, fuck goals that exist online in lists, fuck whatever your parents told you, fuck whatever your religion told you, and fuck what I'm telling you right now. You are the only one that has the ability to know what is right for you. And it kind of sucks because that kind of negates any, advice that I give you or anything else. But it also is really, really cool because your answer is so radically different from anyone else's. And you get to have the coolest life ever for you as long as you start saying yes to your intuition and impulses. And before we get into any of that, I want to talk about giving up first. Yeah, like giving up. I do believe that a lot of us give up too quickly. I believe that a lot of us can be coddled. I believe that a lot of us do not have the tenacity it takes to persevere through things, and that there is a lack of work ethic in general. But I believe that is only the case when there's a hair in my mouth. I believe that is only the case when it comes to the things we are actually in love with. As a collective in Western society, we seem to have this martyred complex of being able to persevere until the bitter end, but only when it comes to things that we hate. I don't know what that's about, all right? Like, we can grin and we can bear it through abusive relationships, through crazy dynamics, through bosses, through teams, through clients, through housing, or even like a movie that we don't enjoy just because we think that we have to. And I don't know what that is. We use up all our resilient energy on being codependent, on being this like obligatory people pleasing, like this bullshit energy. And then we don't have room in our minds or our bodies or our schedules to do the things that we love. So I believe that we are all really good at trying. I believe that. I believe we are all really trying really hard. And I believe we are trying really hard all the time. But I believe we are trying hard at the wrong things. Okay? And I believe if we stop trying hard at stuff, we could give up on those things. These are things that we don't need. And then we could use the skills that we have built for the perseverance and resilience towards having fun in our lives, which is the stuff that we are missing. Okay, so then I want you to dream bigger. I want you to dream about being too happy. Have the audacity to think about what is too happy. This is disrupting the status quo by asking, how happy can I be? What is too happy for me? What would it look like if I was too happy? That is a non-conforming, thought-leading, status quo disrupting thought. And not out of defiance, not just because somebody says, go left and you go right, the pen is blue, like not out of that, but because if you are truly happy, you will begin to question other things as well because you now have like the space for it. So let's talk about what happy actually is. Happy isn't really a verb. It's honestly kind of hard to define. If you look it up, it just says like feeling or displaying being content or pleased, satisfied, satisfaction, satiated. And to me, that honestly sounds a little boring. But honestly, I guess that's because happy is different to everyone. And that's the same way like success is. In fact, I think happiness and success are almost synonymous. There's no end game to either one in the sense that you have to keep maintaining whatever is fulfilling that desire or feeling or state, right? Kind of like a haircut. You can get a good haircut, but then the hair will still keep growing. And neither of them, happy or success, they don't really start or end unless you're including birth and death. And they aren't zero-sum games, right? Like, in the sense that if you're happy or successful, you're not really taking it away from someone else's ability to do the same thing in theory. And the factors for what qualifies you to consider yourself happy or successful also change with your own consideration of self, your environment, your status, your personal development and own evolution, and your understanding of reality at that moment in time. One might say that being happy is successful, and one might say that to consider themselves successful, they must be happy. Success really just means, by definition, to have an aim or a purpose. It doesn't really actually have anything to do with money. Back in like times with kings, it was like to succeed the throne. I don't know, that's just a fun tidbit. Anyway, whenever you want to use, whether you want to use happiness or success as this word in your head for us, our purposes right now, neither of them really mean anything unless you create more adjectives to create your own definition. To me, being content or satisfied doesn't really jive with me. It doesn't feel aligned or connected or whatever you want to say, to feel like this feeling that I'm searching for when I think of happy. It might for you, and that's great. Go with that. But for me, I'm looking for fun. For me, I'm looking for words like excited, jubilant, enthusiasm, weird, passion, fanaticism, eccentricity, maximalism, ambition, gaiety, intensity, liveliness, color, spirit. That's what's really cool is like that list for some people sounds like a nightmare, right? And I love that. Not necessarily because someone would be in pain to experience my version of happiness, but I love that the concept of your heaven is someone else's hell, you know? And that's really, really cool. And vice versa, you know? Just because I dislike gray so vehemently doesn't mean that it's not someone else's favorite color. So where am I going with this? You might have been told that the way you like things or the way that you are isn't right. Maybe you have quirks, eccentricities, autism, mental illness, chronic pain, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too sensitive to loud noises, you're too sensitive to emotions, you're too logical, you're too left-handed, you're too pale, you're too brown, you're too ambitious, you're too satisfied with things as they currently are, too content, too quiet, too loud, too interrupting, too fidgety, too whatever, right? And maybe you think that your goals are supposed to examine the things that other people have told you about yourself, or you've inferred about yourself from media or society or whatever, and then you're supposed to fix them. And for example, like maybe if you're loud, then you're considering making a goal this year to be more even-keeled with the volume of your voice. Maybe you've even looked into a voice teacher and are considering paying someone to teach you how to make you sound different. Maybe you're looking into getting like calf implants to be taller. Maybe you want to get some of those headphones that cancel out the loud noise and figure out how to cope with exterior sound. And none of these goals are bad or good or anything. They're success, right? An aimed point with a goal. Do whatever you want to do. But the operative word there is want to do, right? Want to do. Because if you're doing any of these things because you think people are going to like you more, like maybe they'll like you more because you have less anxiety around sounds now because you're wearing headphones, but you actually really dislike the feeling of having something in your ear more than you dislike having the anxiety of a random stimulus now that you've been like dealing with that stimulus your whole life anyway, then who are you really doing it for? You know what I'm saying? So my hope for you is that any goal that you make doesn't come from thinking you are too much, not enough, wrong, stupid, or weird in a bad way. Weird is great. You have come into this world the way that you are. I don't believe that a goal should be made out of pressure or in response to someone or a group or a society implying or directly stating that you are not the way that you're supposed to be. In fact, I encourage you to do the opposite, to like lean in and go the other direction into that thing if that feels fun for you. But at the very least, do not explain disclaim or apologize for the way that you are, including that specific thing. Sometimes leaning in can be really fun, exposure therapy type exercise for reframing our cognitive connection to that thing. For example, if you're a naturally loud talker, you could talk even louder, draw attention to it, do some voiceover work, or find other people who are loud talkers. But there's also a space in your life where you just like don't have to overtly be in love with a part of yourself to accept it as a part of who you are. You know, just because you're a loud talker doesn't mean that you have to center your life around your goals or center your life and your goals around that thing. You can just accept it. The goal could just be to not actively hate it or to not let other people's opinions of your uniqueness threaten your natural existence. So I want you to take a look at the goals you have made in the past, New Year's resolutions, birthday goals, whatever, and think about how many of them were made out of a desire to conform to others' expectations, even if it wasn't a conscious conforming on your part. We talk about marching to the beat of a different drummer. And like, I think that's a great thing. I think most of the time when we say that, we might not understand it, but we're implying that's a pretty good thing, right? But that implies also that everyone else is marching to the same beat. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to march to the beat of your own drummer. And I want you to be a weirdo. I want you to be an original thinker. I want you to come up with your own goals for this year that feel fun for you. I don't want you to like be like, okay, I have to come up with a goal. So what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to look at a list. I'm going to pick something off of a list. It's like giving a gift for a holiday because you know that there's a holiday coming up, someone's coming over, and you have to give something. So you give a candle. And it's like, do they even want it? It's just trash now. It's just something to give. Don't have a goal just because you think you have to. Don't live someone else's life step by step by step that ends up becoming someone that's not you. And we do this over time and we don't realize it. And all of a sudden I did this. This is why we're making this class. I did this with my business. I started conforming to what I thought was a business, and I got away from myself so fast and I became unhappy as a result of it. So I don't want you to think that just like little decisions don't matter. They all do. They all stack up. Okay. So I want you to think about kids. So when there's like a kid who is drawing on the walls, you have the option to yell at them, reprimand them, and say, you never get to do this again. Or you can say, this is great. I love that you're drawing. Can you draw over here? Or there's that one, it gives me goosebumps that, can you see him? That one meme of, or internet meme, I don't know what to call them anymore. There's so many things, of the kid that was drawing all over the walls. And then there was his like, once he was 10, they like gave him a job at a place where he just like drew murals. That's what you do. That's what you do. Or I heard about this one girl who like, she couldn't stop moving and they took her to the doctor, and instead of like giving her Ritalin, the doctor turned on music, shut the door, and she started dancing. And he said, take her to dance class. And now she's a dancer forever. So there's nothing wrong with you. There is an outlet for what you are. We might not know what it is. It might not even be on Google. Maybe somebody hasn't talked about it, but you know somewhere, and there is a way to find out what it is, if only through your gut in here, okay? So we don't want to tell you, who is a kid, there's a kid in here, anymore, because you probably have been told many, many times that you're wrong and we need to suppress these qualities. We need to enhance them and give them the proper space to move around. So I want you to think about two things. One, what have you been told that is wrong with you or weird about you that you kind of actually secretly like or love or never really got that people didn't get? about you, right? Stuff that you kind of like always have to explain. You're like, yeah, I know, I get it. Like, I get that everybody thinks it's weird, but I'm still doing it. Or you never wanted to stop doing it. Whatever that is. Maybe you did stop doing it, but you don't really get why other people don't get it. Or it's a secret thing. This is why things turn into fetishes, whatever it is. So whatever you've been told is wrong about you or weird about you that you kind of actually secretly like or really, really miss. Okay. So I want you to write those things down. You can write as many as you want. And then the second thing is, what do you want to do that feels like kind of frivolous or you think isn't appropriate for someone your age to do that you maybe feel like you missed the chance for now that you're an adult? And that could be something that you see kids doing, you see teenagers doing, or even 20-somethings doing now, and you feel like jealous of them. And you're like, oh man, I wish I could do that. They get the opportunity to do that, man. Don't forget about what do they say? Like, you only get one youth or whatever, right? Like all that kind of stuff. So as many things as you can for that stuff. Like, I wish I just had a day to not have any responsibilities and not care, that kind of stuff. Okay. Or a month, if you had a month of that stuff, of no responsibilities, no kids, no job, no alarm clocks, whatever. If you had a month of that, what frivolous stuff that no one would judge you for, what would you do? What would that opportunity be? And bullet point list that crap out, use your worksheet, and the answers to those questions are going to give you ideas for how to make your fun goal or goals for this year. And like I said, there's no maximum, and you don't have to do any of them. You don't have to do all of them. Just let yourself write, and then we're gonna structure them out tonight in the coaching call, and we're gonna figure out how to create structure around them tomorrow. But I want you to think for yourself. Try not to Google anything. I really, really, really want you to let it come from in here. Think about when you were a kid. Think about what you want. Think about jealousy. Jealousy is an informant for creation and desire. Life is a playground, not a highway. You get to go all up and down and around and upside. You get to come upside down, come back around. You don't just have to go in a car straight and get off at exits and get gas and get back on. This is a fun time to be alive. So let's make it so. Brainstorm, and I'll see you tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'll answer any questions that you have, and then we'll create more structure and plan and schedule tomorrow. All right, I'll see you.